Hey everyone, welcome back to Photo Commentary, episode 2. This episode I'll be taking a bit of a deep dive into the Instagram and photos of ChrisBurkard. ChrisBurkard's a bit of a legend within the photography and more specifically adventure photography scene. I've been following him for a few years now, and it'll be a pleasure to go over his photos, and I hope you guys enjoy. Well, welcome to episode 2, everyone. Hope you're doing well. So as I said, I'm jumping into the photos and Instagram of ChrisBurkard. ChrisBurkard's quite a legend within the adventure / lifestyle category of photos. As you can see, he's built up quite a following over the years, 3.6 million followers here on Instagram. There's a few reasons I think for that. Partly one, because he's a great, approachable guy that's connected with the community. He's always messaging back people on Instagram, no matter how many followers he has. He's been kind enough to message back a few times to me. A thoughtful, response to a message or question that I had. He's been on the platform for years and years. I've been following him for ages. And also just the sheer scope of his work and the places that he travels. He would probably, he meets a lot of people, connects with a lot of people around the world in terms of his photos, capturing different areas. And that's one of the beautiful things about Chris. He really captures the beauty of Earth and the real spirit of adventure. So that's why we're going through his photos. Let's take a look. So right off the bat here, I love this recent share of his. You can almost feel the surfing sort of stoke of this shot. I love this silhouetted rock here and the surfer out the back getting an absolute clean green barrel. Looks huge, but you can almost hear these guys here hooting and hollering and screaming. This guy's probably getting late wave of the day here, but you can sort of feel that sense of that shared epicness and adventure in his photos. As you can see, Chris shoots a lot with his wide angle, which is completely different, style to how I shoot. I usually don't use my wide angle that much, but if you're up in a plane or if you're up in a helicopter capturing these huge, stretched out volcanoes or wherever it is, it's probably a good idea to use wide angle. So we have different styles in that way just because we shoot different subjects, but his photos are pretty epic, and I think they show off the epic planet that we live on pretty well. His photos are very surreal in a way when you look at them, because you sort of think like, how is that where I live? How are we on the same planet as that? But that's one of the beautiful things that his work does, showcases these wild places or wild scenes that maybe have never been shot before, or maybe not in a lifestyle and adventure kind of way. Another thing that Chris does well is organize epic things. So these are sort of some rivers in Iceland, I believe, which he's been to numerous times. I think he said in an interview once that he's been to Iceland like over 30 times now, which is crazy. I hope to get there one day myself. But this is one of the things he does well, is sort of organizing these beautiful epic scenes of, the 3 planes flying underneath, and he's obviously quite high up in another plane. That's something that he does very authentically and very well, and he often shares how hard or how difficult it is to organize these kinds of things, the lack of sleep, the money, time, whatever it is that goes into organizing these kinds of shoots. I love this frame here. I love the colors. It's quite vibrant. I love the little island. You can feel almost a sense of isolation, maybe being down in this little hut here if you were there, but it's really pleasant. Almost kind of makes me feel quite calm in a way, this shot. I love the moon popping out in the background. It's beautiful. He did quite a beautiful series on Hawaii. I believe or this is Napoli coast, but looks similar to the photos he shot in Hawaii, and he featured a beautiful yellow airplane right in the middle of a lot of the frames, and it just had such an epic, adventurous look, and it just made you want to be on that plane, seeing those beautiful it's like Jurassic Park or something, those mountains coming up out of the Pacific Ocean. One of the cool things about Chris is he's got a real sense of comedy. He's got his what is that? It's a llama or alpaca. I'm not sure the difference between an llama and an alpaca, but I think he's got two of them, and they live on his he's got like a little ranch. But yeah, he's always having fun with those guys. Oh man. Next capture I absolutely love is a classic of his. He shared it a few times. I think he shot it a few years ago down near where he's from in California, Pismo Beach, I believe. Absolutely love the silhouetted shape of the surfer here and the board. I like how the board's actually quite well exposed compared to her. The silhouette is very dark, and it's a completely different edit to how I would usually sort of shoot and edit a photo, but it's very mesmerizing. Just makes you want to be there. I love the sun just about to go down behind the ocean here. The timing gives you a sense of that like special little twilight kind of hour. This is a classic scene of Chris's. Oh my gosh, the northern lights, the surfing, the mountain, the wave being lit up. I think they lit up with like some spotlights or something from a car on the headland nearby. Such an epic frame. I think he says here it's a share from his movie Under an Arctic Sky, which is awesome. Go and check that out if you can. One of my favorite sort of surfing and adventure documentaries. But they get this insane little run of waves, and it's under the northern lights. It's so crazy. He said it himself. He's not the most technically gifted photographer, but he does well, organizing these beautiful scenes, being great and fun to work with and approachable, and it comes across in the photos, I believe. I started to follow Chris a few years ago, partly through his surfing photos and the surfing photos in the insane locations that he shares. You might have seen, this is it's a print he's done. I think that was one of the early photos that really caught my eye, Chris. It's these places that I knew there would probably be waves there, but I've never seen someone surf it, and I think he really cornered the market in terms of capturing surfing in these insanely unapproachable places, places you wouldn't really want to go in the water. It's cold, freezing winds, but he makes it happen. Speaking of freezing winds, I love this capture here. Simplicity of the line meeting up with the figure and the jacket, and you can tell how cold that wind is. You can feel cold almost looking at this frame. Chuck him a like, it's a beautiful shot. But yeah, as you can see, it's just so many adventurous, beautiful moments that Chris shares, and why not follow along with that? I think that's why a lot of people have followed his stuff over the years. It's just the real. It's almost like a page devoted to the beauty of Earth, and this sense of adventure. I love this frame here. It's not necessarily a big wave, but it's just the composition, the rolling shape of the overall wave of the ocean here, out of focus water, and those mountains up the back. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. It's especially a beautiful capture. As someone living in Australia, we don't really have like some epic mountains right on the coast like this, and or epic mountains in general. But I think no matter where you're from, you can probably appreciate this composition and the epic scene. But there's so many moments to pull up. I think yeah, this is one of my all-time favorite shots of Chris. Is just the ominous sense of the evening, or maybe it's early morning, but the dark sort of ocean, this huge wave coming in, this solitary surfer right in the middle, as well as these mountains that almost sort of they make it seem more big by having these sort of linear kind of clouds. It's almost like the mountain's so tall it's going up into the stratosphere. There's layers of atmosphere coming over it, and that's what I like about it. Just, it's a purely adventurous scene, and something like I've never seen before within the context of surfing again. It gives the whole scene a nice sense of scale, having a surfer here, probably in his 8mm wetsuit. It's nice and thick to stop him from freezing over. But yeah, ultimate just earth inspiring scenes. This was a capture from years ago, from his movie. I can't remember what it's called. It's a surfing movie about the little island off the coast of Russia called Kamchatka, I believe, and it's got a whole story behind it. I think in the caption here, he was thrown in jail for not having the right permit or something like that, or something went wrong. These Russians, but he was thrown in jail in a bit of a gulag, and he said it was very, very scary, but luckily he got out a few days later. But you can sort of see these little lines of surf, and you just never expect to see this in Russia, but this is what he does. He shows you these places in a new context. But yeah, we could go through his feed for ages and just look at the amazing beauty of where he's captured, but I'll finish up on this frame here. I think the northern lights are a recurring theme in his photos. The stars and Faroe Islands, and more and on a wider sense, I think Iceland is featured pretty heavily in his work. I love the orange glow of the field here. I'm not sure if it's lit up by the sunset or sunrise or very late. It would have been obviously a little bit slower capture, but yeah, I love how it's the orange hill is lit up here, and the colors are just insane. So definitely check out his work. It is ChrisBurkard. His feed's insanely inspiring to travel the world once we can travel the world again. And if you want to check out my work on Instagram, it's St. John Imagery. And I hope you guys have a good one. I'll see you in the next one.